Welcome to the Dr. Dare Show. My name is Dr. Frederick Dare Brockington. I am a national certified counselor here in Atlanta, Georgia. And the premise behind this video and show is I'm going to be reviewing episodes from the Investigation Discovery Channel, aka the ID channel. The first show that I'm going to review is called The Web of Lies. And The Web of Lies focuses on true stories of individuals who have somehow fallen prey to social media, and the end result did not turn out well. So the first episode is called, they themed it, ID channel themed it, Fatal Facade. But let me say this as a disclaimer, I do not work for the Investigation Discovery Channel, the ID channel. I just love the shows on there, and I decided to view their shows from a therapist's perspective, just to give people insight onto like what things or what behavior patterns went wrong in the episodes that led to a negative ending. So again, this episode is called Fatal Facade. And what happened, there were two teenage girls who fell in love with each other. They got into this relationship. It was a negative relationship, but on social media you would have thought it was a positive relationship based on the pictures they posted. Everything was positive on social media. But the end result, one partner murdered the other. And so what we want to do from a therapist's perspective, when I was reviewing the show, I was reviewing it as if I was listening to clients give me their lived experiences of what happened in the relationship. So what we're going to do is we're going to describe both characters, give the background of their childhood and things like that, and just come up to conclusions of where these things went wrong, what behaviors were a part or impacted the end result of the situation. So the two characters, and these are real people, so again, another disclaimer I wanted to make: I am not judging anybody's behavior, any actions. You did the best you could with what you had, and so I would like to say rest in peace to Tawny Baird, and just condolences to the family. And by any means, I'm not judging, by no means am I judging their behaviors. Again, I just wanted to say that. So there were two individuals involved, and these are actual people. Tawny Baird and Victoria Mendez. They grew up totally different. Their experiences are totally different. So Tawny, we'll start with her. Her background: she was blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful girl who grew up very popular, had a lot of friends. Never really got into trouble. They didn't indicate that on the show, but so we're gonna assume that she didn't get in a lot of trouble except one incident. But everybody seemed to like her. You know, her family loved her. They, you know, supported her, and you know, they were there for her. So she had a good childhood, a good family support system. And so, but one incident led her to juvenile detention center. Tawny was in a car with a group of friends, and there was drugs in the car, and she decided to take the blame for the situation when they got pulled over by the cops. And so she ended up in juvenile detention. So we'll stop there with her story. So as you can see with Tawny's story, there was not a lot of, you know, negative lived experiences. Like I said, she had a good support system. The only thing that I noticed, that from a therapist's perspective, is that Tawny was a people pleaser. That one incident that I just described indicates to me that she was a people pleaser, because instead of saying, no, these drugs are not mine, I'm in the car but they're not mine, she took ownership of that. And I feel like she was, and they kind of made a statement in the show saying that she said, well, I was younger than all of them, and they would have actually went to jail, and I probably won't get as much time because I'm underage. And so people pleasing, keep that in mind. That's something I saw when I was reviewing this episode. Next, Victoria Mendez. Now, she had the opposite child life experiences. Her family was very poor. She had issues with her mother. They didn't have the best relationship. Her father was murdered when she was younger, so there was a lot of negative lived experiences in her life. And so Victoria did mention in the episode that I guess she was seeing a therapist, and they identified her as with antisocial behavior, meaning she displayed like symptoms of aggression and possessiveness and hostility. That was one of the words that they used, hostility. Which, if you watch the episode, you saw that throughout the episode. And I do apologize. That episode aired last Tuesday, 9/24/2019, on Investigation Discovery Channel, on the ID channel. And so that you can go back and rewatch it. Watch it on. They show it all the time. Or if you have a local cable station, you should have an app that you could go to and look at the episodes. But I digress. Okay. And so, from what I saw from Victoria's background, it was very dark. There was a lot of negative things going on. I don't think she processed these things growing up as a problem. It was just, this is all I know. This is the way I grew up. And so, she ended up in a detention center as well, the same juvenile detention center that Tawny was in. And that's how they actually met. And so, they met as friends. They became friends. They, that friendship turned into a romantic relationship. And so when they were leaving the juvenile detention center, Tawny left first. And so Victoria gave her a letter and told her not to read it until she got in the car. And so Victoria got in the car, opened the letter, and the letter said, if you fall in love with someone else or you like someone else, I will kill you. And for me, that was the first flag. And so as I'm watching this episode, I'm looking for red flags, as we call them. And when I say red flags, I mean I need to think about what I'm doing because this is not going right. Kind of intuition. I think everybody has intuition. I know I have an intuition and I listen to it all the time. And so that was the first red flag. So when I'm watching the whole entire episode and I'm watching their relationship progress, I counted about 7 red flags. Yes. And so the downfall of this, these two individuals, Tawny was the people pleaser, and then Victoria was displaying this hostility and overt and invert hostility, inside and outside, basically, of just turmoil. And I say to anybody out there who has a similar background like that, please see a therapist. Contact the local therapist in your area. If you need to, reach out to me and I can find a therapist for you or refer you to a therapist. I do believe in therapy, and I think people don't use those services because I think Victoria did not process any of the trauma that she went through. She didn't understand. She was a child. So again, and another disclaimer, I am not judging anybody's behavior of what happened in this relationship. I'm just giving my perspective of this show from a therapist's perspective. Okay, so where we want to go from here. So their relationship, we'll give a little detail about that. So they began to, get closer. Eventually, Victoria's mother was diagnosed with cancer and she died. So Tawny's family, like I said, Tawny's a people pleaser, and I think she learned that in her family. And so Victoria moved in with the family. The family moved in with Tawny's family, and that I feel like they enabled Victoria's behavior because there were incidents where Victoria had hit Tawny in the mouth and made her bleed, and Tawny came home to her parents and they saw it. The mother knew what happened. The mother knew Victoria did it. The father didn't know. Victoria made up a story. The mother watched, and the dad accepted the story. So again, they were people pleasers. And there's a theorist, Adler, who says the way you behave in your family, you behave that way in all social relationships. And I'll explain that. for me, I feel like I'm in my family. I pull everything together. When things aren't going well, or I just want everybody to get together. I'll pull things together. And if I'm at work, I do the same thing. If like colleagues are not getting along or something, I'm always going to try to do something to pull them together. So that's what I mean when I say you behave the same way you behave in your family that you do in all social relationships. Because as a child, you learn from your family. You learn how to be who you are from your family. Excuse me. And so each of these individuals learn to be who they are. And this is to anybody that's out there that you kind of connecting with Victoria with the dark past and the trauma and no family support and all of that stuff. Before you get into a relationship and you bring someone else into your life, please go see a therapist. Please, what I say is process that with a therapist. Understand how that impacts your life, how that impacts who you are, so that if there is anything that is not, who you are, then please work on that. Sorry. I was just looking at my camera, like making sure that it was recording my voice. Anyway, so their relationship. So as it progressed, things got worse. Every time Tawny would receive a phone call or she was on social media and it was a guy, Victoria just did not like that. She would grab the phone. Who are you texting? Who are you calling? He likes you, doesn't he? She likes you, doesn't she? And then what happened was, because that was the possessiveness and the hostility, that just got worse. There was fighting. There was Victoria pulled out a knife on a guy because he approached Tawny just saying hi. But she was like, this is my girlfriend and you stay away from her. If you come near her, I'm going to stab you.